their order. So yeah. Anyway, all right. So we're looking at lesson 9. We're looking at problem or percent word problems. We looked at percent problems last Friday. Remember where we have before and after the circles? Okay, we're going to be looking at those, but using word problems instead of just 18 is 20% of what? Okay, so the word problems will be the wood nymphs and the maids gambled and frolicked before the banquet began. 70% of those present were wood nymphs and 120 maids were present. How many wood nymphs came to the banquet? All right, we have a hint. So it says use this equation. What other equation have y'all been using instead? Percent of the whole equals the part. Percentage. Y'all remember using that formula? Okay. So we have 70% of those present were wood nymphs, and we know that 120 maids were present. We want to figure out how many we have in total. So what would you do for that? What formula would you start with first? Who came to the banquet? Only wood nymphs and maids, right? Only they came. So if we have 70% were wood nymphs, how many percent have to be maids? 30%, right? So 30%, oh, that's not 30. 30% of the total is how many? 120. We know that 30% is the maids. And that's where she got the 120 divided by 0.3. Does that make sense? What do you mean? Yeah, you could. So how many people or things, creatures, whatever you want to call them? We've got 400 of them. So before 100%, how many did we start with? Do you agree? Okay. What is our circle split into? 70% for the wood nymphs and 30% for the maids. Okay. Which of those numbers do we already have? 120 is 30%. So 400 minus 120 would be 280 is 70%. So how many wood nymphs came to the banquet? 280. Y'all see how that works? Any questions on this one? Okay. If I cough into this, I'm afraid it's going to be like really loud. Do what? Yeah, she's just going to listen over here on the computer. She's been just looking at the slides, and then if she has a question, she's been asking me. So she's pretty smart. She hadn't had any questions. Yeah, it does that when it's recording. Like it flashes while it's recording. I don't know why, but it does that. All right. So we have the harvest was cornucopian as it was 120% greater than last year. If the field yield was 140,800 bushels, how many bushels were harvested last year? Okay, what would you set up for? Why 220%? It started at whatever, 100. to increase it 120%, you're really going to increase it by 220%. Another, because you started with 100% and you're adding 120% to the original 100. Does that make sense? Yeah, yield means what they ended up with at the end. Do what? What'd you say? Oh, okay. So 220% is our percentage. What is our of or our whole going to be? Do y'all know? Why would it be our, did you say W? Oh, I guess for whole. Yeah. Okay. And then what would be our part? Why does it go here? That's 220% of what we started with, right? Of what we started with goes the whole part. And then it increased the next year. Does that make sense? So should our whole be more than this number or less than this number? Okay, so what would our whole number be? What do y'all get? Does that make sense how to do that? So to fill in our circle charts, what would we do? Okay, 64,000 here. And then we got more than one circle because what happened? It expanded. Yeah, you'd say 140,800 is, y'all see how that works? Usually if you divide this number by 120% instead of 220%, you'll get a decimal. Usually, not always, but usually if you forget to add the 100% to this number, it won't work out right. You'll get a decimal. Does that make sense? Any questions? Okay. See if you can do this practice problem. 60% of those present at the performance were neophytes. If 200 present were not neophytes, how many people attended the performance? Anyone want to go to the board and work it out? Why is she using 2/5? 40% is the same thing as 2/5. Huh? Yeah, you can. Yeah. Just making sure y'all understand where the 2/5 came from. 40%, yes. She's just rewriting it as 40%. She's doing it in her head. Okay? Is that how many people attended the performance? Okay, will someone else come draw the circles? Somebody go, I don't care. I don't like calling people to the board. Huh? Yep, she's gonna hear everything. I don't know if she can hear y'all though. I also can't go any further than this away from the computer. I'm stuck here. Yeah, I'm worried that I am. Do you all agree? 200 plus 300 has to be 500. Any questions there? Okay, here is another example. Production increased by 145% if the number of widgets produced this year was 171,500. How many were produced last year? A thingamajigger. A thingamajigger. It's just a thing. All right, see if y'all can figure out how many were produced last year. You want to go work it on the board? Anybody? Nope. You already went. Somebody else. You set it up right? Everybody right so far? 2.5 x equals 171500. Did y'all get 70,000? Okay, someone else has to go do the circles. Okay, go Destiny. You can do rectangles if you want. You can do triangles if you want. Just make sure I can read whatever you're putting in the triangle. Do you have a question, Jamar? Jamar, do you have a question? I'm just stretching. Yeah, you can shorten it to B and A. That's fine. But 100% and then after is just after. Do y'all agree with her diagram? She used square or rectangles instead of circles. Is that okay? It should be 245. No, just kind of scratch it out because you can't really erase it very well. No, here. Not 2.45%, 245%. Did that make sense? Any questions here? Okay.